Most of us love writing, but hate the act of sitting down and staring at a blank page. But what makes successful writers successful? What daily rituals and routines do they have that made them who they are? Salaam friends, my name is Mohamed and I'm a writer, and in this channel we demystify the writing process and discuss tools and habits that make writing possible. In this video, I will discuss the writing routines of 10 authors. I've made a mixed list from fiction, non-fiction, children, and YA books. And if you look on the description, you will see them listed below the timestamps where I have them listed for you to jump to the ones you are interested in the most. And first up is Toni Morrison. Toni Morrison, in the beginning of her career, used to wake up at 4 a.m. She would have a sip of coffee and just watch the sunrise. She believed that light had to enable her creative process. And then she would go into writing until before 9 a.m. when she had to go to her 9-to-5 job. And in a Paris review, she revealed that she never had a regular writing routine. She always struggled between keeping a 9-to-5 job and finding time to write, which led to sometimes finding these awkward hours between work or during her lunch to write for a few minutes. And for me, that's a very comforting revelation because I struggle with keeping a 9-to-5 while writing. And it's even harder to have a child and wake up at 4 a.m. and write before you go to work. And so what has been working for me is that I set up a time for me to write for half an hour every day at 12 o'clock. And I have a commitment with my writing friends where I send them a Zoom link for us to get on the meeting and do not talk, just be on the screen, muted, and just write for half an hour. And it has been the most consistent time I have been writing since I graduated from my MFA program. Next, we have the author of over 60 published novels and 200 short stories, Stephen King. Stephen King has a very rigorous and consistent routine where he wakes up around 8 and 8:30 for him to start his day. At his office, he would drink tea, swallow his pills, and listen to some music. This ritual, he believes, it signals for his brain to start dreaming. And his daily writing goal is 6 pages. So he would stay on the desk for 3 to 4 hours to get a clean 6 pages. This is why he's able to publish a book every year or every other year. After his writing sessions, he goes for very, very long walks where he believed his mind takes the time to solve for the challenges that he's facing in the plot or in the character development or in the sentences that he's struggling with. And he follows this routine even during his birthday and holidays. Next, we have Haruki Murakami, where he says when he's in the novel writing mode, he will wake up every single day at 4 a.m. and write for 5 to 6 hours. He feels like it's a strength training activity where he wakes up early and takes advantage of the energy that he has during the morning. After the writing session, he will go either to exercise by running or swimming, and in the evening, he will sit home to read or listen to music and go to bed by 9 p.m. to repeat the cycle all over again. He believes that keeping the consistency of his routine is as important as the writing itself. It builds the momentum for him to dig deeper into his mind to produce the best stories that he can write. Next, we have Malcolm Gladwell, maybe the Stephen King of nonfiction, and he says, I lead a very boring life. He starts his day at 8 or 8:30 like Stephen King, and he believes in a very, very light breakfast. He had mentioned one time in a podcast with Tim Ferriss that he only eats half a cup of oatmeal or 1/3 of a croissant. And that just to give him enough energy to sustain himself in the morning. Because if he eats much before writing, he will feel sleepy during the process. After the writing session, he will give himself permission at noon to read the newspaper and to read his emails. Because minimizing distraction during the writing session or before gives him the freedom to focus on the writing. In the evenings, he will dedicate it for research. After that, he will go for a run, and in the evening, he will read a book or do a little bit of research. Next, we have James Clear, who was my inspiration for this video, and he starts his day by just drinking water, by hydration, and he does not have breakfast. He also keeps a gratitude journal where he jots down the things that he is thankful for. After that, he will read 20 pages of any book that he's reading, because giving himself a set number of pages will force him to dedicate that time for reading as opposed to procrastinating it. He makes sure that he does not check emails or social media in the morning so that he can be focused on his own writing in the beginning of the day. After his writing session, he will eat his first meal, then go weightlifting, and in the evening goes to sleep by 10 or 11 o'clock. Next, we have none other than Laila Lalami, who is the author of the Moors account. Laila, unlike other authors, she wakes up and checks her email and social media first in the morning because she does not want to be thinking about them in the background and get them over with. An hour into her morning, she will shut off all her technology plus the internet because she believes in a very long focus session of writing, research, and just digging into the book or story she is working on. Laila believes in holding the little moments of validation because they are the ones that keeps her moving forward. And as writers, we're highly critical of ourselves, and those moments of validation can turn into a motivation that keeps us pushing forward. And next we have some YA authors, and I'll start with Sabaa Tahir, who starts her day by dropping off her kids in school and then returning and write until they come back at 5:30. She focuses that time for writing so that in the evening she can spend it with her family. And during the editing process, she actually prefers to edit at night because she believes her best ideas come at 2 a.m. in the morning. Next we have J.K. Rowling, who starts her day early by 9 o'clock and writes for 8 hours. Now that time she doesn't only dedicate it for writing but also research, character development, and researching the settings that she is exploring. And next we have John Green, who also wakes up in the morning and writes first thing and does it for about 4 hours. The afternoon he dedicates it to YouTube videos and companies and businesses that he runs. And he likes to emphasize that writing does not only mean just sitting behind the computer and typing away, but it also involves interviewing people that you need to interview, researching, and capturing the characters' personalities that you're writing about. There you go, these are 9 routines of famous authors that we can take inspiration from. And what we can conclude is that there is no magic routine or bullet for becoming a successful published writer. All that matters is finding the routine that works for you now that might change in the future if you have kids or your job changes, or hopefully you publish a book that helps you write full time. For now, stick to the routine or find a routine that works for you and squeeze every bit of it until it does not work. And when it doesn't, then make the necessary adjustments for you to get back to the page. That's it for this video, and if you enjoyed it, then click here to watch the video on how short stories can teach us how to write novels. Thank you for watching, and keep writing.